Hey everyone, Melanie Minshinger here, illustrator for Gina K Designs. I am so excited to be sharing my first video tutorial with my newest stamp set, Window on the Water, and this is a follow-up to my Winter Window and Window Edition set that I recently released. I know you are going to love all of the different beach and ocean and river and lakefront editions here with the furniture, the treatments for the windows, and these lovely pieces for the shore. So today we're going to do just this simple window scene. So I've made this card as if you are looking out onto the water. So we're going to paper piece these dunes, do some very simple blending for the sky, and then some very simple coloring on the little fence and the reeds there. So very minimal supplies again for this one. The ink pads that you're going to use today, I've got the Gina K Designs Obsidian Amalgam ink. I'm using the Ocean Mist for doing the sky. You could use any one of, she's got so many different blue-green colors, but this is the one I'm going to use today. And then I've got some of the Kraft ink. So on this particular card, I used her Sandy Beach and her Tranquil Teal, but I'm going to mix it up a little bit, and I want you to let me know at the end of the video which colors you prefer. I just want to show you some different options. So we're still going to use her Pure Luxury White, and you're going to need a piece that is 4 inches by 5 1/4, and you're going to cut this with either her window die or the one from my Winter Window set. You can also layer these together if you want to see around that edge and maybe paper piece some wallpaper or some different color for the inside of the house, but today I'm just using this one piece. Then you'll need a scrap for the sky background that's going to layer behind it, and instead of using the Sandy Beach cardstock, I'm going to show you it with a darker cardstock. So this is her Kraft, and that is going to coordinate with this Kraft ink. I've also got a piece of the blue raspberry, so this is 4 1/4 inches by 11 inches, and we are going to score this at 5 1/2. And I have misplaced my scoring tool, so I'm just going to use my blending brush. So the handle of this works really well as a scoring tool. Okay, so this is what we're going to use with that Ocean Mist ink. I have already pre-cut my window die, as you see, so I just used my Cuttlebug, and then I've got the base plate and the B and the C plate for doing the die cutting. And then something to do your stamping in addition to the set. So I've got the little mini MISTI, and then I've also got a small block here. And you're going to want something to cut out that paper piecing there. So I'm going to use the scissors, but you could also use a craft knife. I just want to show you options. And then just a few markers that we're going to use today. I want you to have a medium and a darker blue for that water, and then some kind of tan ink that we're going to use on the fence and then to create some shadows in the sand. And finally, you're just going to need some adhesive to put all of these layers together. You can use the Connect glue, you can use, here we go, Connect glue, and then some adhesive foam just to pop that layer up. I am out of my Gina K foam squares right now, so I'm using a little bit of backup today. So I think that's everything that we're using, so let's go ahead and begin. And what we're going to do is we are going to start by stamping out our scene. And I hope that you will check out our Facebook Live for the release party. I am pre-recording this and going to the beach, so I can't wait to see all the reactions and your comments and questions about this set. So we're going to start by picking out this little sand dune piece. And then additionally, we are going to use those birds in the sky and the fence. And you could change this up if you want and put that Adirondack chair sitting out there in the sand, but I'm going to save that for another card. Be sure to check out my introduction where I show all the samples that I made for this set. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to see where I want to have this. So this is sized that if you use that open window die, it's just going to pop right in there. You don't have to do any masking. It's just that perfect width for it. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to have this here in the corner, and I'm going to close the door, pull this out, And I'm going to just line this up behind it. So this scrap piece of paper that we have here, it just needs to be bigger than the window. It doesn't even have to be as long as the window because the sand is going to cover that up, okay? So I'm just going to put this here. I'm going to make sure that it's centered so that it's going to fit behind the top half of that window. And I'm going to put down my magnets. And we're going to ink this up with the Obsidian ink. Okay, get that centered there. And we're going to stamp this 2 times. So I want you to use the MISTI with it. You don't have to though. It will line up on the 2 layers of paper, the Kraft or Sandy Beach and the white. But it's just so easy if you already have it in the door. Okay. And here is the little thing I've been using, like a Chucky tool. It's a little mini stapler. It's already got the felt on the bottom. So pull this up. Okay. And now what we want to do is I'm going to stamp this again, but I want to have the sand layer. And this is just saving you from having to do as much blending and as much coloring. Okay, so now we're going to do the sand layer. And actually I want to have a little, to be a little bit lower. Okay, so we're going to do our sand. And just really rub that on. Now this doesn't have as smooth of a finish as the Kraft, so you might need to stamp this more than once. No, it looks good. I might do just one more time just so we can get it a little bit more solid. So just put just a little bit more on there, but it doesn't pick up as much detail sometimes the first time. These rougher papers, you have all that, those natural textures in the Kraft paper. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my scissors and I'm just going to cut along the top of those dunes. And if you have a wider window that you're working with, then you can go up a little bit, just kind of imagining that you have those really steep dunes and the sand is kind of banking there. Okay, you don't want to go down or just completely straight because that won't look natural. And what we're going to do is we are going to color, I'm going to put this out of the way for a second. We're going to color this and then put this scene together with our Connect glue. So I'm going to do just a little bit of blending. I'm going to do just a cloudy sky. And if you don't want to do as much blending but you want it to pop, you might choose to start with a darker ink pad. So the lighter you do, the more layering that you're going to have to do with the ink. Okay. So I just want to have a little bit of white showing through. I'm going to show you on another card, probably my next video, that you can make a stencil if you really want to have those fluffy, billowy clouds. You can just create a scallop stencil or use a stencil that you've already got. All right, so now what we're going to do is I want to color this water. And I don't think I said which colors that I'm using here. I've got, these are the Spectrum Noir. I've got the BT7 and BT5, and then I've got an EB2. So this is an earthy brown and just something light for the sand, but we're not coloring the sand on this one. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to take your lighter blue, and we're just going to fill in that water, okay? Now you want to take the darker one, and if you look at pictures online, just the horizon line is just a little bit darker. It's just going to blend down. So I'm going to go over it again with my lighter blue just to blend it in. Okay, so that's all we're going to do there. Now what I want to do is I want to, where did my tan piece go? Okay. And it looks like I got a little bit of ink on there, so let me see if I can find my sand eraser. It's not going to matter because I'm going to put my fence on there. Okay, so what I want to do now is stamp the fence. So you've got 2 different sides. And you can see how much you want to have showing behind that window, how far up you want it. Okay, so I'm gonna put this right in here. Actually, I don't even need that. Okay. All right. So I just want to make sure that the bottom of this is behind the window, and you can cheat this a little bit. It can go up or down just depending on, let's look and see how much actually we want to have showing. If we want to have more sand or more sky. Okay, so you see how that, I want to have more sand because I want to show you what it looks like to have the fence on there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put, you want to make sure that you have where it's rooted in the ground at the bottom rather than the top. I've got a little line that shows it's stuck into the dirt, and you can have it go all the way across, but I'm just having a little opening there as if there's just a little path going out to the sea. Okay, and we're going to close the door. I'm going to put my magnets on. I must have just picked up my magnet. Okay. And we're going to take a little bit of that brown marker, and that is going to add the shadows that we need to the fence. Okay? So now what I'm going to do is I want to take the finer point, and I'm just going to add, I'm just going to go under here because you would have shadows where all of those plants are coming out of the sand. So I'm just scribbling over each of those little places that you see the grass popping up. And then I'm also going to put just a little bit back here where the hills are crossing each other. Okay. And then I'm going to just do just a quick stripe. I love how the Kraft just soaks it up. And you might want to grab a darker marker if you feel like your light brown is just fading in and not popping as much. So like here's EB3, and this one is just slightly darker. So I'm just going in, I'm putting this at the bottom. You probably won't even see on the bottom for this particular layout. I'm going to do some tip-to-tip coloring here. So what I'm doing is I'm taking my lighter marker and I'm just grabbing a little bit of that brown and going up. And I've also got some pieces in this set that work for waves or for ripples in the sand, and it's really nice texture. So let me point this out to you. So I have this little bit here, and then I have these lines of waves here. So if you want, you can take, just going to use this block here because I'm going to be moving it around. You can also stamp it off. So I'm just going to just gently do just some little kind of bits here that look like people have walked up and down that path. Okay? So it's very subtle, but it's going to add a lot of texture and realism to your card, these tiny details. Now what I want to do, now that I've blended my sky, is I want to add my birds. So I have got a group of 3 birds, and then I've got a single bird. So you can orient these however work for your layout. And I like to just lay this over it so that I can see. I don't want all my birds to be covered up by the mullions in the window, but it's fine to have them overlap. That looks more realistic. You don't want them to look like they're painted on that pane. And you also want to make sure it's the birds are going to be like a V, otherwise it's going to look like they're flying upside down. So have the V opening towards the top. Okay, so I like to have just a little group and then maybe just a single one off by itself, or maybe 2. So the small bird is here. All right, and that's all the stamping we're going to do. So now this is what paper piecing is. It's when you stamp something onto 2 different pieces of paper and then you have them line up together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the Connect glue And I'm going to just line that up with the background scene. Okay. And then I want to pop this up over that. But what I want to do first, make sure if you're going to have a greeting that you do the greeting before you add your foam, because you want to have a nice smooth flat surface. So I had It Is Well on that one. I'm going to do Let It Be on this one. So I tried to think of just these very peaceful greetings for this set. They work year round. They work for all kinds of occasions, I think, where you might want to have a window on the water to just encourage someone, to relax someone. Okay, so what I'm going to do, instead of putting them on here, I know that this is going to be covered up, so we're going to put the foam on the back of this layer, and then we will just have it hover over our scene. And this is also going to stick to the back of the card. It might not in certain places, depending on how large you have made your scrap. I just want to have it held up enough on each side, because if it sags there in the middle, it's just not going to look as dimensional. You might want to put one there too. It's kind of up to your discretion, but 6 is probably enough. Okay. And if you have them very close, then you probably will need to go ahead and use your glue to then adhere that layer to the card base on the back after you've got this assembled. So I can't wait to see your creations with this new set and how you're going to put them together. I'm also really excited to put this with Rena's Ocean Minded set. I think that is going to be such a fun set to have go with it. So there's my little scene. It looks like just like a little diorama or something. All right, and now I'm going to put some glue on the back of this. And there's my sand eraser. So I see I got a little transferred a little bit. You could also put some birds inside the card, and that would be really pretty. Let me see if I can get this off here real quick. If not, I'm not gonna worry about it. I'm gonna let it be. Ah, there we go. Sand erasers are great. It came right off. Okay, so there's our card. You'll have to let me know if you like this bluer water or the greener water and base. And let's see, what did I want to show you? I'm gonna go ahead. I'm just gonna put those, I don't need to put anything on the inside. I think I'm done. All right, I am so excited about this window on the water set. I hope that you are too. Please come visit us at Gina K Designs and in our Facebook group online. We have a lot of fun over there, and I would love to see the cards that you make. Please let me know which is your favorite. Thanks so much for watching today. God bless.